More input, Stephanie. More.
There isn't any more. You've read everything in the house.
Ooh, animal, mammal, skunk,
Oh,
vessel, container, drinking glass, pasta,
Yeah,
semolina,
God.
spaghetti,
that's
food,
very good.
liquid, spaghetti sauce.
Hey, look, this may be hilarious where you come from, but on this planet, it's considered rude.
Ooh, plant, fruit, oranges, apples, lemons, limes,
Oh, that's great. Thanks a lot.
fabric, tablecloth,
No, not my dishes. Oh, thank God.
breakfast table, American contemporary,
Oh, my china.
numerous fragments,
Okay,
some
fine.
large,
You want
some
input?
small.
Take a look at this. Look at that.
Welcome aboard. Now let's adjust our seatbelt.
See that?
Input.
Right, input. Good. Okay, here, you hold this. That's very good. And stay.
At Alaska Airlines, our people go out of their way to show you they're only human.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Have you ever been in an institution? Cells.
Cells.
Do they keep you in a cell? Cells.
Cells.
When you're not performing your duties, do they keep you in a little box? Cells.
This causes it. This causes it. This causes it. Information overload. All the electronics around you poisoning the airwaves.
You are listening to the High Tech Low Life podcast, a cyberpunk media retrospective. High Tech Low Life contains language and themes not suitable for all audiences, as well as spoilers for the content being covered. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everybody, to the High Tech Low Life podcast with your hosts, Eric and Josh. I'm Eric.
I'm Josh.
Earlier, I was constructing my lunch, and I thought of a really cool intro that I was going to use, and then I sat down to say it, and not one single word of it was retained into my brain.
Yeah.
Consider this like a tribute to the best intro in the world.
This is just a tribute.
Yep. It's lost to time, but the tribute remains. Welcome back, everybody. Here we are. We're talking about Short Circuit from 1986.
Yeah, a virtual remake of the movie we watched last week.
Virtually? Wait, wouldn't that movie be a remake of this?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I mean, that's how time works, I guess, unless you're a fifth-dimensional being.
It's an emotional support robot that you fuck.
It does. You do fuck it. Oh, man. I'll just say up front, kind of delighted by Short Circuit. I realize that is colored by nostalgia.
I was so pleasantly surprised that I didn't want to kill myself.
I realized as I was watching it and I was hearing lines that popped into my head as they were being said, like, oh, I watched this a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah, this must have gotten a lot of play from the fucking rental store, or maybe it was on HBO
USA Network or yeah, definitely. Anyway, we'll get into it after we talk about some horribly depressing shit first.
Wait, has there been horribly depressing shit going on?
Yes, unfortunately, there has. Although I was looking back, and this week has been a lighter week in the 2025.
Relatively slow.
Yeah.
In terms of new developments. I mean, all the old terrible shit's going on, too.
Oh, it's still happening. Yeah. It's a snowball that barrels endlessly down a mountain of pain.
Yeah.
But not a lot was added this week. But
I mean, I think that in my mind, okay, the thing I can remember is the State of the Union quote marks.
The address to Congress.
And Al Green getting kicked out.
And then the Democrats and their little cute signs.
Yeah, well, and more importantly, the 10 Democrats censuring him.
Yeah,
voting with the Republicans to censure him. So that seems good, right?
Yeah, that was actually I actually did sit down and try to make a list of what to talk about, and the main thing it comes down to that we'll probably end up talking about a lot over the next 4 years, if this podcast goes that long, is the uselessness of the opposition party and how clear it is that their plan is to let Republicans do whatever they want, destroy everything, and then swoop in as the heroes at the last minute at the next election.
Well, I think the real problem is that they are very much not an opposition party.
No,
we don't use that language in this country. They are the minority.
Yeah,
which is
I should have
bad.
Put big air quotes around that when I said that.
Yeah. I mean, that's just not how U.S. political vocabulary works. For some reason, I don't know if it's chicken or egg. Them not being opposition in factual terms, or them not being opposition linguistic terms. I don't know. But it sucks.
It does. I just want to see anybody that was elected. I mean, obviously we did see one person, thankfully, and he was immediately chastised and subjected to racist bullshit from people, from his coworkers. And I don't know what the answer is. Yeah. Is the answer to primary these people? Should we all start running for stuff?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not necessarily an electoralist.
Same.
But I don't know, every time.
But like, I'm not a water sports enthusiast, but when you're drowning in the ocean, you gotta swim, right?
Yeah. Well, and also, every time for the past, I don't know, 25 years that I've gone into a voting booth, even, metaphorically when I'm voting by mail, I have to hold my fucking nose every time I check, I check the box next to a D. I guess the real question is, do we primary fucking everybody, or do we try to get behind somebody setting up an exciting new party?
I mean, now is the time when that should ostensibly be able to happen, you would think.
Yeah, you would really think. I mean,
when you think back to correct my history if I'm wrong, but weren't the Democrats formed out of the Whigs being, or was it the Republicans were formed out of the Whigs being useless? Yeah, because they switched.
Yeah. Republicans left the Whigs because the Whigs were wishy-washy and conciliatory on the issue of slavery.
Yeah, which you would think there would be some lessons to be learned there. But then again, every day I listen to history podcasts and read articles and stories and stuff about things that have happened in history and how we are just ignoring it, just barreling through as if it can't happen again.
Yeah.
I don't understand it at all.
Yeah, it's not good.
I wanted to specifically, speaking of useless Democrats, I wanted to specifically call out Gavin Newsom because he threw transgender people under the bus.
Oh God, that had slipped my mind in the past.
And I also wanted to point out, if you don't like us talking about transgender people on this podcast, there is a little hole you can go dig and fuck yourself in it and then bury yourself in it and die there. Because, we're gonna.
Yeah, go ahead and now.
Well, no, Josh, I'm going to edit that out.
Okay.
That is actually a threat that gets you banned off platforms.
Go ahead and yourself now.
Nope.
Is that safe?
Nope, that language is understood.
Oh, God damn it.
708. All right. Not that I disagree.
Yeah. Okay.
Gavin Newsom basically saying, I'm willing to throw this marginalized group under the bus if it means me picking up one or two more votes. And I don't even necessarily know that it would pick up any more votes.
I kind of think not, but I don't know, man. Was it just last week on this podcast where I was talking about, we need to figure out the difference between should a political party just reflect what approximately 50% of the electorate wants versus should a political party take stands and attempt to move the electorate? Was that on this show?
Yeah, that was. Okay. I'm remembering it.
And,
amazingly.
I don't know. I feel like Gavin Newsom is on the wrong side of history.
Yeah. He's also greasy, sleazy dickhead.
Yeah, he certainly is.
That doesn't really have much to do with his policies. That's just vibes I get.
Yeah.
Let's not make him the next presidential candidate. What do you say, guys and ladies and NBs? Let's put him away.
Yeah. Great idea. I agree with you. Hey, we're on the same page for once.
Yeah. Wait, we're usually on the same page at this part of the show.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's true.
That's enough. The Democrats suck. Do something. And I know they're all like
anything.
Do
please.
something has become like the blue no matter who crowds. Like, what do you want them to do? And it's like literally anything.
Yeah. If it just literally a single thing that doesn't involve standing behind a podium and giving a milquetoast speech. I mean, I would even accept stand behind a podium and start yelling. I mean,
yeah,
that
give
would
a
be an
fiery
upgrade.
speech.
Yeah.
Even the people who didn't go to the address, I feel were doing better than the people who just held up signs. It was so embarrassing, man. It was.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. That's just such a.
I'm
like not showing up would be something. Everybody showing up and I don't know, wearing fucking mourning veils. That would be something. It's all fucking performative anyway. But just standing there holding a fucking ping pong paddle,
which only like less than a third of them even did.
Get fucked, nerds.
Get fucked, nerds. If I was running as a Republican, that would be my campaign slogan. Get
Me
fucked,
too.
nerds.
Yeah,
it would work. It's basically that's been their campaign slogan.
And it would probably work. I mean, that's that exact move got the Democrats most of their traction in the late summer. Tim Walz going, these guys are fucking weirdos, right?
Isn't it strange how they like had traction, and some of it was being in a bubble. I know that, and they probably didn't have as much traction nationwide as it felt among people who are following them. But yet they had momentum and they hit the brakes
and
so hard on that.
Immediately bailed on it. They were like, "This is working. We got to get the fuck out of here.
We got to do something else." And that'll never cease to amaze me.
It's that fucking decorum captured, not wanting to get in trouble with daddy cuck mindset.
Yeah, daddy cuck. I said it in Discord. I got an email from our local Democrat representative, and it said, and it was so milquetoast, and it was like her usual, I'm trying hard to be bipartisan. And she goes, many people are not pleased with the current administration, and other people's are pleased. And I'm thinking, many people are not pleased because they're worried about being killed or deported, and the other side is pleased because people are getting killed and deported. That's not something worth mentioning.
It's I don't know. And the thing is, she's historically, she has been one of the relatively okay ones.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You're in Kansas. You've got to.
Yeah,
there's some theater you got to do.
But she has actually put up a little bit of a stand on a few things, which made me feel good.
Yeah,
and just this fucking rollover bullshit.
Anyway, we need to move on. This isn't accomplishing anything. We're just complaining. Nor
is it entertaining, I'm sure.
No, it's not. But maybe it's cathartic to some people out there who just watching your representatives just roll over and just let the Nazis fuck their backsides. Sorry. Recommendos?
Yeah. I got a couple of real quick, easy ones. Okay. As I mentioned last week, Dr. Odyssey came back this week. It was great.
Yeah.
Pacey looking as fucking sexy as ever.
Yeah, he was promoting it on Kimmel, I believe, and the two of them read a scene from Dawson's Creek to promote.
Oh, I missed that somehow. Okay, I'm gonna have to hunt that down.
Yeah, it's a Dawson Pacey scene. I recalled it immediately when I saw the sketch, even though Kimmel ruins it.
Yeah, well, okay. How's he ruin it?
Not Kimmel. Not Kimmel. The other one, the one that sucks more.
Oh, Fallon.
Yeah, Fallon.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a clip of him on Fallon, I think talking about how he lost his house.
No, well, maybe it was the same. This wasn't at the desk. This was off to the side, like a little sketch they did.
Yeah.
Also, not to interrupt you, but while we're going on, it was Vanderbeek's birthday yesterday, and he put out an Instagram, which was kind of touching in that weird Vanderbeek overly sincere way that kind of makes you cringe, but also the guy's really sick, so you feel for him. And once again, hope for nothing but the best from him. Hope he's embracing modern medicine and everything it has to offer.
Yes, I had the same thought when I watched the video. And he did mention, and it made me feel like a little hopeful, being away from the family, living in an apartment for his treatment.
Yeah.
So I am assuming that means he is, somewhere like going to Mayo Clinic or something like that.
We can hope, man. He did look pretty sick. I mean, he did. Of course, he's a movie star, so he's not obviously doing his workout and stuff that he's usually doing. So he looks skinnier. That's all I should say.
Yeah, he looks skinnier. But I am, because of the way he said that he was away from his family, I am not as dreading something like he switched to an all fruit diet.
Yeah. He did say he's on the road to recovery too, which we'll see what that means. That could be cope. Anyway, Vanderbeek, get well. We want you around.
Yeah.
You and your weird, enormous family and even your crazy love of RFK views, which... Whatever. You're Dawson. Come on. We need Dawson in this world.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yes,
we have another one? I've got one when we're done.
Okay. I've got two more. One very quickly. Just came on streaming. It is a movie called The Gutter.
Okay.
You have obviously not heard of it because nobody had. It was in a theater or something like that 4 months ago. It is about professional bowling. It stars Darcy Carden as an alcoholic retired former bowler. Okay. And the main character is played by Shamik Moore, who's a black actor who's been in a bunch of shit. I think he plays Raekwon in the Wu-Tang Clan TV series. He's also Miles Morales in the Spider-Verse movies. Mm-hmm. Very funny guy. It is very much a 1980s dumb fucking comedy. Oh yeah, and the villain is your love, Susan Sarandon.
I do love Susan Sarandon,
who's also Darcy Carden's mom.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, fun movie. It's now out on digital.
All right. I don't have anything to say about it because I've literally never even seen a trailer.
Yeah, I don't think I saw a trailer once on, I think, Darcy Carden's Insta or something months and months ago, and then somehow the movie snuck out.
I wanted to, I'll do mine last. You go ahead and do your final thing.
Okay, my last one is a show that I have not finished yet. It just came out on Hulu. It is called Deli Boys.
Oh yeah, I have been seeing trailers for those all over the place. It looks very funny.
Yeah, I'm I think 5 or 6 episodes in. Very, very fun show. Let's see. The basic premise is there are 2 Pakistani-American brothers who are all set up to inherit a chain of like 45 convenience stores throughout like Pennsylvania. Suddenly their dad dies, and the company gets raided by the FBI because they've been doing a bunch of financial crimes for years and years and years. Oh, and also it turns out that the convenience stores are all a front for drug smuggling.
Sounds awesome.
It's very funny. The third main character after the 2 brothers, who are great, her name is Porna Janganathan. And she's been in a bunch of stuff, like she was the mother in Never Have I Ever, the Mindy Kaling show. She is so fucking good in this. She is a hardcore crime lord.
Yeah, I've seen her in the trailers. She's the funniest part of the trailers.
She is incredibly funny and also incredibly threatening and like arousing. So there's one part where she's wearing fucking leather pants.
I think we both just opened shined lights into our preferences when Josh is turned on by aggressive older Pakistani women, and for me it's Susan Sarandon, so you can draw your own conclusions.
Yeah, here's the terrifying thing. She's not older. I think she was born in 1980.
That's true. She's probably our age exactly.
Yeah.
We're older.
Yeah. Anyway, step on my neck, porn.
Oh, God. I do look forward to watching that. Maybe I'll start it this week. I wanted to do this last week. I wanted to talk about the Andor trailer.
Oh, yes, we forgot to talk about that shit. Yeah, great.
And it's been out a couple weeks now. The original one, there's actually been a second, more traditional one released for it. But when the original one came out, there was a lot of shit talking in the Star Wars fandom, which I enjoyed immensely.
Yeah. It was just a reminder of, there are many horrible nerds out there.
Yeah. And the problem people had with it was that the song they used for it is like, it's a country rock song, basically, from Steve Earle. I believe it came out in like 2003, something like that? 3, somewhere right around there. Probably 3, yeah. And it's not very Star Wars. It's very country rock. I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah, it's very country rock from a guy who, by his own admission, makes an embarrassing amount of money for holding the political opinions that he has.
Yeah, I've heard him say that on stage a couple times.
Yeah.
He also said that he is a Marxist, but they'll get his guitar collection when they pry it from his cold dead hands. So and he's put out entire albums talking about like workers' rights and labor movements of the past. And he's a big lefty revolutionary guy, and they used his song, which is specifically an anti-Bush song about revolution from the peak of the Bush years right after 9/11, and put it in this trailer. And I don't think that was accidental. I don't think that was, everybody's like, oh, it's clear the producers are just trying to make them be more mainstream. And it's like, you don't know. If you know, you know, and you guys clearly don't know.
Yeah. And I don't think we actually said it. The song audience is The Revolution Starts Now.
Yeah. Honestly, never one of my favorite Steve Earle songs, although I liked the album quite a bit.
I always really liked it. I think he was on tour for that record when we went and saw him in Lawrence, right?
He might have been, yeah.
I think so.
He got a lot of heat for that record because he had a song on it told from the perspective of the dude, the American who was caught working or fighting for the Taliban.
Yeah, fuck, what was that?
John
Walker? No, that's...
Yeah, John Walker Blues, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Walker, Texas Ranger Blues. Anyway, that got him a lot of heat in 2003 or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know. I thought it's a really interesting trailer to watch because you can watch it without sound, and you're like, yeah, okay, this looks very reasonable and normal, like a continuation of the Andor TV series from 4 years ago now? Something stupid like that. And then you put the song on top of it, and I am like, wow, this is a wild fucking choice. I love it.
Yeah, same.
I think I texted you that.
Yeah, that's the first place I saw it, and then it was everywhere.
Like just a song I never in a million years expected to hear in the context of a movie made by, show made by Disney. And yeah, then all of the horrible nerds came out of the woodwork because I honestly think it's the exact same people who it wasn't as big a deal then, but you might have run across, I certainly did, people complaining about the end of the first season of Andor because there have never been bricks in Star Wars before.
Oh,
so
God,
therefore,
I'm so glad I didn't know about that.
Bricks don't exist in Star Wars, and this is a huge problem because I honestly could never follow the logic, but it was a big hang up for some people. Like, just bricks. There were never bricks in Star Wars.
All right, brother.
We've never seen a brick in 9 movies.
And I say brother with absolute certainty that it was a dude.
1,000%. And I will also say I am 99.9% sure a white dude.
Yeah, exactly. Just for me personally, that the use of that song indicates that Andor is going to stick to the themes and messages that it did in the first season, if not double down on them.
Yeah, I assume that is the case.
And that's awesome. And
Yeah.
Steve Earle rules. Go check out some of his discography. He's got a lot. He's got a shit ton of records.
He's more than Copperhead Road.
Definitely.
Although, Copperhead Road is kind of a bop.
It's hard to beat. Also, who thought they would be getting recommended early 80s Steve Earle records on a cyberpunk podcast? Probably not you.
Probably not them, yes.
But Steve Earle, we'd love to have you as a guest.
Speaking of the 80s.
Yeah, the 80s. That's a decade that's familiar for some reason.
Yeah, we watched a movie from the 80s.
Oh, shit.
Whoosh it.
No, I was going to make a joke that I watched the wrong movie, but the only one I could think of was Companion, and that would not make sense.
Well, I mean, it's almost the exact same movie.
It's very similar. There's a lot. No, there's no robot fucking. This is a children's movie, sort of.
There is implied robot fucking.
The robot does, I think, given the opportunity, Johnny Five, or rather just number 5 in this movie, would fuck.
Oh,
he definitely flirts.
I think at the end of this movie we are heading towards a thruple.
Okay,
again. I'm not sure why
here
this has become a running theme on our show. But me
Thruples
going
involving robots.
Is they a thruple?
Yeah, as I said, I didn't really. I mean, I knew I'd seen this before, but I didn't know if it would hold up and I would still enjoy watching it. Turns out I did. I had fine time watching Short Circuit, and let's not gloss over some hugely problematic issues that it has.
Yeah, it was honestly, I was kind of fucking dreading watching it, and I was so pleased with what I actually ended up watching. Because number one, we have to immediately address, Fisher Stevens is in brownface.
Yes.
And that is weird and kind of uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable.
On the other hand,
also he's the majority of the comic relief.
Yeah. On the other hand, it's like I don't know, as weird as it is to say, it's the best possible version of that.
It's clearly not done with any malice or...
Yeah, and I was actually trying to analyze it kind of deeply my second time around.
Well, I think it's important. I think people are going to expect us to, so...
Yeah. I was trying to analyze it, and the thing about Ben... I can't remember his last name, which is the character Fisher Stevens plays, who is theoretically...
Jabituya.
I'm not going to even attempt that without...
I know number 5 says it at one point, I think.
Yeah. Fisher Stevens, a white guy from, I don't remember, Ohio or something, is in brownface playing theoretically an Indian American, but the upside is that none of the jokes that are about, or that the character is about, have anything to do with him being Indian.
Other than the fact that he didn't, the language barrier, which they could have done if they'd just given him a Eastern European accent or something.
Yeah, exactly. That was the solve I had for it.
Yeah, that's all they had to do.
All you have to do is make him German or something like that. The backstory for that character is fucking fascinating.
Well, Josh just looked into Short Circuit 2 a little bit, and
the forestory for that character is insane.
Because he's like the main character of Short Circuit 2.
He really is. So the backstory to the Ben character is that Fisher Stevens got hired when they were, first making the movie. Then they, the director, whose name is John Badham, saw Beverly Hills Cop and saw what's his name? Balky.
God, I just saw an interview with him the other day.
Yeah.
Can't remember. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Saw the guy who plays Balky in Beverly Hills Cop, where he plays a French guy. And there's some, fun, like, oh, we've got kind of a culture clash thing going. So
Bronson Pinchot. Sorry, I had to look it up.
Pinchot. Yes, thank you. That would have been bugging me.
Yeah.
So Fisher Stevens gets fired. Bronson Pinchot gets brought on to play some sort of, I assume it wasn't specified. I assume an Indian guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got the gig on Perfect Strangers and left. So they rehired Fisher Stevens and said, your character is now an Indian guy. Because in the initial draft, it had just been some dude, the sidekick. And Fisher Stevens is like, okay. And apparently did a fair amount of work trying to actually, have reasonable references and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And give a reasonable approximation of the accent, which honestly, his accent work in this seems okay to me. I'm not super familiar with the varieties of Indian accent, but it's not nearly as fucking heavy-handed as a lot of them.
I don't know. It's so strange because I started this expecting to cringe out of my bones whenever he was on screen. I didn't, because Fisher Stevens is a pretty good actor, and he's doing a pretty good job of playing an Indian man. It's the fact that he's playing an Indian man that's the problem. It's not done with any malice, and they're not making fun of the culture other than making fun of the language. And it just either hire an Indian man or make Fisher Stevens not be in brownface.
Oh, and it's not even the accent that's the joke.
No, it's completely the language.
It's always stupid colloquialisms that he doesn't quite hit.
Which would be just as funny as if he was speaking German or,
fucking Finnish.
Polish or something.
It's Australian.
Australian would have actually been hilarious. Yes. I actually kind of want to see that happen now.
Yeah. Okay. So the movie itself, it's E.T.
You're right. It kind of is.
It's pretty much exactly E.T., except Steve Guttenberg plays the Peter Coyote character, and Elliot is played by Ali Sheedy.
Yeah, Ali Sheedy. I liked her a lot.
Yeah,
she's very charming, until she's yelling the entire movie.
She is at a very high volume. Her game is
fucking time. Yeah, I was like, simmer down, Ali Sheedy.
Yeah, she's doing a lot of yelling. Yeah. Okay. So the setup. Let's see how actually. Oh, the movie begins with a great fucking credit sequence where we're putting together a robot.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty cool opening sequence.
And it's really neat. There's all sorts of machining and
also
fucking oscilloscopes and shit like that.
Music is a banger for the opening scene, I thought, anyway.
There is, even putting aside the El DeBarge tune that everybody remembers.
Oh, and we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Even putting that aside, yes, the music is a banger. Which does remind me of something. The score was done by David Shire, who is a film composer, did a lot of work. Most famously, he did the score for the Conversation.
Oh, cool.
R.I.P. Gene Hackman.
Yeah, we never actually discussed that, but that's a very depressing story that I don't really want to bust the mood and go back and talk about.
I don't want to get into it. It's a bummer. But yeah,
also the New York Dolls guy, we never talked about him either.
Yeah, David Johansen. R.I.P. No, he was on our show, sort of.
Yeah, he was also a depressing story. Never mind. We'll save it.
Yeah,
there's enough depressing stories.
Yeah. Okay, so we got some robots and a pretty banging theme song. Then we see some army shit. There are fucking jeeps, stuff like that. They all have red stars on the doors. And then there's like these sandbag bunkers, and a robot head pops out of it and shoots shit with lasers. Shit blows up. Robots win, tanks die. It turns out everybody in these trucks were mannequins. This is all a test.
Yeah. Like, there's a crowd watching and cheering.
Yeah. Another stupid thing I noticed about this movie is that this is right at the tail end of Jeep-based army movies.
Okay.
Like it wasn't very long after this that like every movie was full of Humvees, because that's right. This is like right before or right as the army started using Humvees. So it was really interesting to watch all the vehicles. Like, oh yeah, that's a
Short Circuit is the apex of Jeep army movies.
Yeah. It's also, there's a conversation later about how the Scroter needs to get some Hueys. And there's a conversation about, I thought they were called choppers. No, they're called Hueys now. This is also right at the very end of when Hueys was useful as a designator for helicopters in the Army, because they switched over to Blackhawks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fun facts.
Real weird inflection point.
Yeah.
So, turns out this was all a demo for fucking senators and shit like that. These fun robots who kind of look like an ET head on tank tracks.
Yeah, they're really well designed, whoever did that, because I remember as a kid, I was enchanted by them.
I saw a thing with John Badham, the director, and he said, the way I built this movie budget-wise was to shoot it as absolutely cheaply as possible so we could spend more and more money on the robots.
That's smart.
And it is fucking beautifully achieved.
Yeah, I think they did it well. The
robot design and function is honestly pretty incredible. Sid Mead designed them, did the illustrations, he also did most of Blade Runner.
Oh.
All the sci-fi looking shit in Blade Runner, and tons of other movies. And then I can't remember the name of the guy who actually built the robots, but he's somebody else we've had on the show before, sort of.
The robots themselves are another thing I expected to age really badly upon rewatch, and turns out, I mean, they'd all be CGI now and walk like human beings, but they look cool.
No, they're fucking great. Honestly, they spent their money fucking well. The robots look cool. Everything they do is cool.
It's very intelligent to give them working eyelids and eyebrows, because that makes them, that anthropomorphizes them better than anything else you could have done, really.
Yeah,
and they have a use. They have a functionality too that is demonstrated at one point in the movie.
Yeah, and it's honestly really impressive how well everything holds up, when I assume that there's probably some guy just off screen with a fucking RC car controller.
Yeah.
Waggling eyebrows, and then another guy working the treads to drive it around.
Uh-huh.
And it is all pretty fucking flawless. There's 2 points in the movie where I go, yeah, I can see that, kind of rough green screeny shit making the robot jump here.
Mm-hmm. They did a lot of speeding it up to make him appear as if he's moving faster, because obviously they're not going to move very fast on those treads.
Yeah, it's the robot shit is fucking incredible compared to what I was dreading when I started it. So
you offhand have the budget for this?
Oh, yes. Cost $15 million.
In 1986 money. Okay.
Yep. Which is not expensive. I mean,
no, not huge.
Yeah. Actually, that's probably what Companion cost this year.
Yeah.
It's honestly really impressive, the robot shit. So, turns out these are war robots. They're being sold by Nova Robotics, who is a guy named Howard, is the president, who's played by Austin Pendleton, who is a incredibly reliable fucking actor that has been in 9 million things that you've seen.
Yeah, he's great in this too.
Yeah, he's wonderful. And the actual names of the robots, or the model, is Strategic Artificially Intelligent Nuclear Transport, or SAINT.
Is their goal to transport to guard nuclear weapons? Is that
okay? It is laid out that
they're supposed to carry nuclear weapons.
Yeah, the point of these robots, which is insane, but it also really fits with a nice Cold War mindset. So we drop the robots in slightly before we shoot the missiles or drop the bombs in. Then, the big nuclear missiles or bombs, whatever, go off. Then the robots come out of hiding, each carrying their own little mini, 25 megaton nuke to go to where survivors are and nuke them. Yeah, which... there's a line that I don't think I typed up, but one of the characters said something like, yeah, we call it Operation Fuck You Last, buddy.
Yeah, Operation Got You Last. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
This was the weirdest mindfuck when oh yeah, remember when Russia's still the bad guy, but we used to acknowledge that Russia was the bad guy.
Yeah, it's fun. Also, these robots can make a mean gin and tonic.
Yeah, they can. But they cannot make pancakes very well.
No, they need better programming for that. So, this whole thing is to sell the military on these cool robots, which were developed by our main... No, honestly, he's not the main character. Ali Sheedy, if anybody other than number 5 is the main character, it's Ali Sheedy. She gets the most screen time.
Yeah, he's... I would say I would split it between Gutenberg and Ali Sheedy. They're the romantic interest.
Yeah. They're designed by Newton Crosby, who's Steve Gutenberg, who is a socially inept weirdo, I guess, except for he's not.
No, but I feel like they did a good job. Like the talking between the Goot and Fisher Stevens felt like nerds talking, the way they would talk about meeting girls and stuff. We were around some nerds when we were younger.
Yep.
Definitely weren't them ourselves.
No.
But I just say it tracked for me.
Yeah. That's something that Austin Pendleton said in an interview. He was talking about how Short Circuit, this is an okay movie. It's not the movie he signed on for. The initial drafts were like this, with Crosby as this very antisocial person who doesn't know how to connect to other people and so puts it all into his work.
Yeah.
And then the robot helps with that basically. And then they hired Steve Gutenberg, and Gutenberg has a very good skill set for it, but it's not a skill set for that character.
Also, 80s Gutenberg, he's got charisma, just pouring out of his
the
skin.
Guy's got a lot of charm.
Yeah.
I don't
does. You saw him in the videos of the California fires. Dude was out there fucking fighting fires, man. The guy rules.
Then one of the robots, there are 5 of them. One of them gets hit by lightning. And this robot starts acting funny, like bumping into walls. And I think perving on a waiter robot.
Yeah, I think that was what they were intending to show.
I think it's implied, yeah. Her electrical cord was dragging behind her like the shaking
salaciously,
of
yeah. And he was like, oh.
Yeah.
And this is the inciting incident that gets him out of the Nova compound, though. So
yeah, he's trying to follow this sexy Waitron.
Driven by robot horniness.
Yeah, driven by, RoboCop's famous line, fuck me, fuck me, fuck me.
Yeah, Robo wants an Oreo.
Yeah.
Or an Oreo is robot sex in this case.
Yes. Yeah. And then he ends up getting shoved onto a trash truck and transported off the base. At this point, we've also met Fisher Stevens in brownface, and it's weird. But like we said, he's good at it. I don't know.
Which is it'll never not be awkward. We just got to get that out of the way, okay?
Yeah,
it was the 80s and it was weird, and they should have cast an Indian man, but
yeah.
But Fisher Stevens is professional and he does a good job.
He's doing as good a job as literally any human could. I mean,
what I'm saying is,
well,
hold it against Fisher Stevens. Hold it against the makers of this fucking movie.
Yeah, he's doing as good a job as any non-Indian human could.
It's so goddamn weird.
It's very weird. Every time he's on screen, you're like, fucking Fisher Stevens in brownface. That is strange. And then you're like, but he's really good here.
he's kind of pulling it off.
And I read this interview between Aziz Ansari and Fisher Stevens.
Yeah, that would be
about
interesting.
this. And Aziz Ansari mentioned that for literally like 15 years, he thought Ben was he thought Fisher Stevens was an Indian guy.
I mean, he's convincing.
Yeah, and so he went from being one of Aziz Ansari's favorite characters in film to instantly being a villain when he found out he was a white guy in brownface.
Yeah.
And Fisher Stevens was like, yeah, fair. I mean, I certainly wouldn't do it today. I was, it was the 1980s. It was a different time. I was 21 when I got hired for this and
probably needed some fucking money.
It's real hard to say no to a job. Yeah.
Especially a job with that much screen time. And
yeah,
like he gets some of the better comedic lines.
And when sort of the job application wasn't be in brownface,
right? And that's put on him later when he's already spent the check.
Partway through, it turns into now for the brownface.
Oh God, that's got to be a nightmare.
That's yeah.
Anyway, if you need to cleanse your palate, go watch Hackers. He's skateboarding around.
Oh yeah, so great.
He'll make
He's
up for it.
Skitching on a limo. Yeah, in a giant fur overcoat.
Oh,
yelling about people hacking the Gibson. So yeah, robot gets struck by lightning. Robot ends up on a trash truck. This robot happens to be number 5, which I am going to be interchangeably calling Johnny 5 for the rest of this podcast because apparently that got stuck in my goddamn brain in 1988 when the sequel came out.
Yeah, I think I might have seen the sequel more than this one. I know I watched them both a lot, and I don't think Johnny 5, like they call him Johnny at the end of this, but Johnny 5 is fully in the sequel, as well as Los Lobos Kick Your Ass, Los Lobos Kick Your Face.
Oh my God,
kick your balls into outer space. Yes.
Jesus. Okay, I knew I had watched the sequel.
That one's going to be a lot more problematic.
I did not remember anything about it until I went through the Wikipedia.
That's true, actually. You know what? I'm walking back a little bit. Like we were saying, don't give Fisher Stevens. He did do a sequel. We got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's true.
He knew he was getting into the second one.
Yeah. But again, I bet that check was a lot higher.
I'm sure it was because whatever it was, Gutenberg wouldn't take it.
Yeah.
Nor Ali Sheedy.
We also have Steve Gutenberg teaching a robot arm to play piano.
Yeah, he's very talented
because he's a smart guy. He also makes it flip off Ben, so that's fun,
hilarious.
Okay, so the robot escapes as this fancy dinner party basically is going on, trying to sell the robots. Suddenly, Gutenberg notices the robot is missing. And it's a big emergency. They run to this big control room, which is a cool set. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see this room a lot. There's computer terminals and there's this big map on a table with a cool hologram indicating where Johnny 5 is.
Yeah. It looks pretty futuristic.
It's pretty futuristic, but achievable futuristic for 1986.
Yeah, I don't think this takes place in the future, right?
No, I think it's, I think it's
this is the secret tech the corps are working with that you don't know about.
Yeah. Okay, so Johnny 5 got away in a garbage truck. He ends up rolling off the back of the garbage truck, landing in a fence with some cows and a butterfly.
Dog eats garbage off his face.
He flaps his eyebrows like the butterfly wings. Mm-hmm. It's very cute.
I'm in love with the robot as a child right now.
Yeah, we are hugely, like, at this point, the audience is like, man, I want this robot to be my best friend.
Yeah. I want it to be my companion, not to have sex with.
It's an incredibly effective robot. Like, everything they did sells everything they need it to perfectly. You're like, man, this robot is a great guy. Look how friendly he is. Sure, he's made of fucking titanium and has a giant laser and is meant to carry nuclear weapons to civilian centers. But
that is so dark. That is so dark.
It really is. It's psychotic. On the other hand, he's a really good dancer. We're going to find that out in a few scenes.
You know what? Another thing I remember about this, when Johnny Five's eyes go red and his eyebrows go down and he's getting ready to shoot something, I remember as a kid, that was legit terrifying to me. And he has a dark purpose, dude.
Yeah.
Carrying nuclear bombs to civilian centers. Fuck.
Yeah, they have the like, as cool as the robot is, like, just in its entirety, one of the amazing things is there are only, like, I don't know, 4 points of articulation on the thing's fucking face or head at all. He's got the eyebrows. He can, like, send his eyes kind of out and, like, tighten the pupils. And
he can make the pupils change, yeah.
There's nothing
else. He can also
to
tilt the head to the side, which is huge.
Yeah. There's nothing else to it, but it manages to convey every bit of emotion you need. It's it's better than CGI faces were 10 years ago.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, he's out wandering around. Everybody back at the base is panicking and trying to find him. He ends up at a gas station trying to seduce a gas pump.
Yeah. We haven't spoken about Scroder yet.
Yes, Scroder pops up. He's the security chief for Nova Robotics.
Head of security, apparently with the power to just request the military.
I guess. Yeah. And also, he's also played by Captain Harris from Police Academy.
G.W. Bailey, yeah.
Yeah.
He's fantastic as a bad guy. We all love to hate this fucking guy. Also, great name to just shout out randomly. Scroder. Do it. If you're at work right now, just try it. Shout Scroder.
Yeah. It's a choice they made.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, at some point, somebody calls him Scrotum, and it's not as fun, honestly. Scroder
it's really not. Yeah.
Is more fun than Scrotum.
Yeah, so he's excited. Well, he's worried and excited that this robot got out. Number one, he's worried because this robot has a fucking armed laser that can blow up a tank.
Yeah, or an empty rowboat.
Yeah, or an empty robot. And he also wants to kill one of these robots.
Yeah, I feel like he's worried that they're going to take his job.
Maybe. And maybe it's just because he wants to see the red light leave their eyes. I don't know.
Yeah, he's ruthless, even though he does have 3 kids that he apparently hates.
Yeah. So let's see. So they're trying to track it down. And we roll out another great piece of military technology.
The little car thing?
Yes, that is a Daimler Ferret.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's a scout vehicle that, I don't know, was produced in the 1950s. Oh, it's so cool.
There's always some guy riding outside of it with a machine gun on his knee.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real good shit. So they're looking for the robot. They're tracking it down. Johnny gets on the road right in front of one of these vehicles, and then suddenly he's being pushed down the highway at highway speeds.
And they're fucking terrified. Like, the dudes inside the vehicle are afraid as hell at this robot because they just watched him blow up
a fucking tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know the laser is not to be fucked with.
And they're all panicking, and they end up coming to a panic halt, and the robot ends up flying off of a bridge because of a construction.
Off a perfectly placed GTA 5 ramp.
Mm-hmm. He goes flying off this bridge, activates. Turns out he has a parachute. I was really surprised that this movie did not keep going back to the well of, Johnny has some special accessory attached to him, because they
do it a couple times, but not as much as you'd expect.
It really feels like that would be happening a ton, but it doesn't.
Well, they specifically mentioned they parachute them in, so it makes absolute sense they have parachutes.
Yeah. So
although the distance he gets off that bridge is mind-boggling. Like there's some, maybe they have like wormhole technology too.
It's a pretty tall bridge, but it takes a solid like 5 minutes to get down to ground level.
Yeah.
Once you go off.
And the bridge is clearly over water, and he lands clearly nowhere near water.
Yes. Apparently this movie is set at or about Astoria.
Okay.
Oregon.
It's a beautiful little town they're tearing up.
Yeah. So he ends up landing on a food truck, and we meet Ali fucking Sheedy.
Stephanie.
And Ali Sheedy is great. This is only a fucking year after Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I was kind of doing the math as I was watching it. That makes sense.
It was kind of impressive how she honestly looks a solid 5 years older than she does in Breakfast Club.
Well, the hair does a lot of work.
I think that's mostly the hair and makeup in the Breakfast Club. But
yeah, she's got that hairstyle. Like you've seen people compare like Gen Z kids to people that age in the 80s and how the people in the 80s look like they're in their 40s just because of how they dressed and the haircuts and stuff.
Yeah.
So she could be 43 here. She could be 21. I have no idea.
I think I did the math. I think she's 22 or 24.
Okay.
In this movie. Johnny goes out of tracker range, so they can no longer just track him from the big desk table. So he lands on top of Ali Sheedy's food truck. She doesn't notice other than, there's a big bump. Turns out she is heading home because her neighbor called her because her ex-boyfriend is there trying to steal her dog.
Yes.
And
when I saw ex-boyfriend on screen, there was something from my childhood that bubbled back up, and I had a visceral hatred for this man, and I couldn't remember why. And then it unfolded as I watched the movie. Like, what a piece of shit.
Even beyond, this guy in the movie is a total piece of shit.
Yes.
he's introduced trying to steal a 3-legged dog to sell to a medical research facility, and only gets worse.
How did she date this guy?
Good question. But also his fucking everything about that character is perfect, hateable 1980s boyfriend.
He really is. Like blueprint.
He's the platonic ideal. He's driving a Trans Am. he's the villain in every 1980s movie. It's incredible how
it was a strange reaction. Like even before he'd said anything, I fucking hated him when I saw him.
Yeah. She ends up chasing him off because, like I said, he's trying to steal her dog.
After hitting his Trans Am with a bat a couple times and yelling the whole time. She never stops doing that.
No, she has no low volume in this film. One thing she does have in this film is like 500 animals.
Yeah. She's an animal lover.
Assume at any point when we're talking about Ali Sheedy and we're at her house that this was one of my favorite parts of the movie. In the background of every scene, there are somewhere between 4 and 12 kittens just falling off of bookshelves and like fighting and crawling around. I truly loved it. Anytime my eyes wandered away from, number 5 or Ali Sheedy, there's a kitten in frame taking a dump.
She's definitely got a hoarding problem.
Yes, she really does.
And at one point, like she's talking on I don't remember, this might be a little bit ahead, but she's talking on the phone about how she's looking for homes for all these animals. And she's like, don't worry, I'm trying to home them. But then later in the movie, she's like, with that much space, I could get so many more animals. Like she doesn't want to home these animals. She just wants all the animals.
Yeah. And look, I'm under no illusions here. I love me some goddamn, kittens.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I have to assume that her house smells like a toxic waste dump.
Yeah, I brought that up to my wife as we were watching.
I cannot even imagine the smell in that place.
Like multiple ferrets, kittens, dogs.
Yeah. A raven.
A raven. Outside there were sheep.
Yeah, sheep and a donkey.
Yeah.
Shout out to Broche. So Yeah, she's an animal lover. She's running a rescue, even though it's unlicensed and the city is coming down on her. And then we cut to that night. So we go to Ben and Gutenberg loading a van with equipment. And they're going to go out and, try to hunt down number 5. And this is the point at which we find out that Ben is fucking pussy crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
He's like, you know about girls? And Gutenberg's like, I've heard of them.
You're not going to do the accent?
No, absolutely not. I am going to, look, like I said, I respect what Fisher Stevens managed with what he had. There is no way I'm walking into that fucking trap. I can see that pit a mile away.
Oh, here's a fun fact. I just learned from IMDb. The voice of number 5 is also the voice of Frank the Pug for Men in Black 2.
Yes.
Men in Black 1. All the Men in Blacks.
Yeah, he is primarily, I can't remember the guy's name, Bradley something Bradley?
Tim Blaney.
He's primarily a puppeteer. And yeah, he was in a perfect movie, Men in Black.
All right.
Seriously, Men in Black is a perfectly constructed film. There is not a single thing you could change about that for the better.
I'm not arguing. I haven't seen it in a while, but
it's also a beautiful, tight, fucking 91 minutes. I mean, it's shorter than this movie.
Speaking of which, we should get back to it.
Yeah, speaking
of hitting a tight 90.
Yeah. Okay, so, they're going to go out hunting fucking Johnny 5. That night, Ali Sheedy hears a bunch of shit going on outside.
We should also mention that number 5 doesn't have a big vocabulary right at this point. He knows he needs input.
Yes, he does.
He needs data. So he says input a lot.
We are going to find that out momentarily.
Okay.
So, she goes outside. Her food truck is a rockin', and glowing red lights are in it. And she opens it up, and there's Johnny. She thinks he's a robot, or she thinks he's an alien, possibly in a spacesuit. And this is where it first hit me that, this is exactly E.T.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she treats him like a fucking alien that crash landed and is like, here, look at this this is our planet. This is the ceiling. This is the floor. Here, watch TV. You'll get some input.
Have my entire encyclopedia set, which every house had in 1986, including mine.
Yep. Yep, 100%. He repeatedly states that he is having a malfunction and needs input. They do a really good job with the robot puppetry, and he's doing a bunch of mimicry. Like she's trying to gesture him, come on, and stuff like that, and he's just repeating it back to her. So then we go into the house. There are fucking kittens everywhere.
I was worried. Those are big, thick treads and a lot of little kitties.
Yeah. Yeah. In real life, I would have been very worried.
Yeah.
This house has no less than 40 fucking kittens in it at any given time. The stereo gets turned on, and it's fucking El DeBarge.
Nice.
Who's Johnny? Maybe the greatest legacy of this film.
Possibly. I did watch the video at your request.
Did you love it?
It was fantastic. It's a great song. Honestly, it's a great 80s pop jam. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, it really is. It's obviously hot fucking trash, but it's the best version of hot trash you can get.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's fucking just chaos in the house. Johnny's fucking bouncing off of shit, breaking shit, and he, like a magician, whips a cloth off a fucking table that's fully
one of the
loaded
better
with
jokes
a
of the
set.
movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, she's panicked because she thinks he's going to pull this tablecloth off, and her tea set's going to get broken. He manages perfectly, like a magician, and then he grabs the table, picks it up, and says, "Coffee table, modern American style," and dumps everything everywhere. It's very funny.
Shards, multiple tiny pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. She shows him fucking TV and the Three Stooges, takes a Polaroid of him. There are more kittens everywhere.
I mean, honestly, I feel like this is a pretty accurate representation of what would happen if my dog was suddenly gifted human intelligence and the ability to speak. I feel like the dog would just be pointing at things and saying what they are.
And yelling.
And being very excited.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems accurate. Like picking shit up, like, holy shit, I've got thumbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very accurate. So then, then we go back to a very funny, keep that tone in mind, scene with Steve and Ben, or with Gutenberg and Ben, and we have some more fun communication about how, he doesn't quite get colloquialisms. If I lose my job, I will have to, I don't know, stomp on the sidewalk, hit the pavement or hit the road, something like that.
Yeah. Like that.
And here's the very funny bit where Steve Gutenberg says, "Where are you from originally?"
Bakersfield.
Oh, Bakersfield is the answer. And then Gutenberg does the obviously completely not racist, "No, I mean your ancestors."
Yeah.
And the answer to that is Pittsburgh.
Which I feel like is a direct acknowledgement of what was happening.
Yeah, has to be. Because if you remember the second movie, he gets his citizenship at the end of it.
I don't remember. I'm going to continue not remembering the second movie until we are forced to watch it for this program.
I honestly really do want to run down the fucking Wikipedia summary because it is way too long and fucking insane. So, back to Ellie Sheedy's the next morning. Johnny watched TV all night so he could get input. There are still tons of kittens around. She takes him outside to see the sunrise. And he is unfamiliar with the concept of the sun.
Yeah.
But he is not unfamiliar with the concept of the Edgar Allan Poe poem, The Raven.
No. He copped that from the encyclopedias, I guess. I don't know. He
managed to miss the sun, though. She shows him, and he's like, "Oh, light bulb." It's at this point that we find out he really does have consciousness because he sees shapes in clouds.
Yeah.
He gets startled by the dog. He falls off the porch. She sees his VIN plate. It turns out he's a stupid robot from that war lab.
She gets really upset by this.
Yeah. She calls Nova, asked to speak to one of the head warmongers.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
And the guy on the phone says she wants to speak to the head warmonger or technician or whatever he says.
Yeah. You, Dr. Marner. And then the security forces roll the fuck out. She tells Johnny that the lab's coming for him. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then accidentally runs over a fucking grasshopper. At which point,
very sad. I remember as a kid being absolutely crushed by the death of that grasshopper. So people with particularly sensitive animal feelings probably don't love it.
Yeah. And this is the point at which he learns about death. Equates it to the disassembly that he's going to undergo back at the lab to find out why he has malfunctioned.
Well, I know this is a goofy 80s TV show, but I feel like on the High Tech Low Life program, we have to talk about these cyberpunk themes, and this is kind of the key one, right? This robot's instinct of survival, and what it means to be alive. So this is kind of where what really makes this qualifies it to be on our program, I think.
Yeah,
Johnny's need for self-preservation and bodily autonomy at one point too.
Yeah, it's it becomes very clear in a scene towards the end where he's having a conversation with Gutenberg.
Yeah, it was actually kind of, it almost felt modern when I was watching it. The way we'll get to it.
So, let's see. Yeah, he ran over the grasshopper and has now realized that if he goes back to the lab, he will be disassembled and die. Because
no disassemble number 5.
Yes, he says that repeatedly. He then steals her fucking truck.
Grand Theft fucking auto.
Yeah, tears up a pretty nice Ford Galaxy, almost runs over about, 15 people.
He is a danger. He's a menace.
He does not know how to drive yet.
He gets the concept, though.
Yeah, he gets the concept. She's in the truck yelling at him. They're about to drive off.
She does like the T2, chase the truck down and jump onto the back. She's not, this is her livelihood, man. It's a food truck that apparently sells grain and yogurt.
Yogurt, yeah.
And tomato soup, I guess. It's some.
I don't know. You might be able to get away with that in fucking Astoria, Oregon.
Maybe you should focus a little bit more on what you're selling. Like go for a taco truck or sandwiches or something.
I don't know if tacos in the Pacific Northwest in the 80s.
True.
I don't know if people are going to go for that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. What do they eat up there? Salmon?
Sushi. Salmon.
Yeah.
Salmon. Sushi. He says that when he hits a fish.
That's true. He does. Salmon. Sushi.
You honestly do a pretty good number 5.
Nice. I've got a. If only I did a good Ben from Fisher Stevens. No. Then I could get a job working on The Simpsons.
Yeah. Actually, I like doing my research for this week. I ran into a whole bunch of that as well.
Yeah.
Like the reckoning with, is it cool to do brownface? The answer is no, it's
no,
not.
It's not cool.
But it was apparently
people with real brown faces that need jobs.
Yeah. Apparently it was a real conversation 5 years ago.
Oh, I remember, dude. I was taking it in. It was fascinating.
Yeah, Hari Kondabolu, he got some real fucking traction with that. And good for him.
Yeah, good. I mean, that's the only way to change things. Like, it's ridiculous that it takes so long, and it's ridiculous how much people dig in their heels to not do it. Like, even I seem to, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I seem to recall Hank Azaria like being kind of against it, even though I really like Hank Azaria and I think he's a good person. But
yeah, I believe I believe from my research this week, he came around on it. But yeah, he was.
It took him a while.
He was initially like, no, I mean, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings here, and couldn't quite connect the intentionality what he's doing with the actual effects.
Right. Intentionality is not that important when it comes to stuff like this. It's the actual harm that's being done. And if you're doing the harm, you gotta reckon with that.
And yeah, The Simpsons has come around. I don't know if they no longer use Apu or if they got an Indian guy to voice it. But
I haven't watched it in a while, but I think they got an Indian guy though.
Yeah, I don't. I know Azaria's not doing it anymore.
I do too. Although he's still got plenty of voices on that show.
Yes. Yeah, it's not like Mo the fucking bartender
or the
got killed off because of the woke mind virus.
Although the cop should. Didn't he do the cop? Didn't he Chief Wiggum?
Also did the cop, yes.
A-cab, even Chief Wiggum.
Bart goes A-cab. I believe he's also Snake, the cool delinquent. So maybe we could have Snake kill Chief Wiggum.
So I Googled it, and what the AI overview is telling me is that Apu is no longer voiced by Hank Azaria. The character is now non-speaking, which seems worse for some reason.
Wow. I don't know if that's accurate, but yeah, that does seem like should have either just killed him or or I don't know, hired a brown person.
Just hire a fucking brown person. Come on. There's literally billions of them.
Yeah. Yeah, hire anybody off of fucking Deli Boys.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, they're about to crash off a cliff, and finally they stop the fucking van. This is the point at which Johnny actually explains, like, oh, he thinks he's going to die if he's disassembled. And Ali Sheedy's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, basically.
Yeah.
And then Gutenberg and Ben show up because they got the alert and happen to be in the area. And here's where we get the line, number 5 alive. Go ahead, Eric.
Number 5, I can't do it now, it's too much pressure, is alive.
Yeah, there we go. Johnny is hiding under a box in the back of the van and shivering.
Yeah, it's very, very cute.
They roll out the number 1 robot from the back of the van and don't believe that number 5 was able to do all the driving and stuff. And they really treat Ali Sheedy like she is just a dumb broad.
Yeah, they do. But of course, they're nerds.
Are you sure
they don't interact with women much.
Are you sure that you weren't doing all the steering or something? You might be misremembering. He couldn't have been driving.
Yeah. And she's just yelling.
Yeah, she's just screaming through the whole fucking thing. Being, as you know, a hysterical female. So then the security
Also,
forces...
her wardrobe is fantastic. It's like, I don't know, I was into it. It's all like
It's
hippie.
pretty... Yeah, it's 80s hippie.
Yeah.
So then the security forces show up, and they basically just immediately start shooting shit. Number 5 lasers a bunch of boats.
Yeah, empty rowboats explode in a fireball.
Yeah, and number 5 gets all fucked up.
Yeah, they shoot the fuck out of him, actually.
Yeah, Gutenberg powers him down. Stephanie is very fucking upset because he said he was alive. And
Also,
she's alive.
Ben continually threw her to the ground during this scene. It was awkward.
It was awkward, but also just a very funny bit.
Yeah, she's like, "Stop it! God damn it! Get down, woman!" I'm not doing the accent.
Nope. So then Johnny gets stuck in the back of a van and trucked away with Ben and a soldier. He wakes up in the back of the van, and when I watched this, I so solidly remembered this scene.
Yeah.
Where he wakes up in the back of the van and starts repairing himself with all the spare parts and shit.
Yeah. As a kid, this is a cheer out loud for number 5 scene.
Yeah, I do not know why this specific scene stuck in my mind so much, but I remembered it fucking instant by instant. It was very weird.
I tried really hard to pay attention to the story that the driver was
insane.
It's the most boring fucking story that has ever been told in a movie.
Insane. Yeah, something about Mount St. Helens, and there's Ash, and his wife's name is Hazel.
Something about a flat tire. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very fucking weird. So then an arm falls off the shelf in the back. The driver notices Johnny's awake, and he's like, "I'm going to fucking laser you." And they both run away from the van. Johnny steals van.
This is the point, like when I was a kid, I remember when Johnny does right here, it's scary. When his eyes go red, man, he's a scary fucking nuclear warhead delivering to orphanage robot.
Yeah, eyes go red, eyebrow things go pointy,
yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good bit of business. They run the hell out of the van. He steals the van. Notices the tracking device on him, tosses it in the back of a pickup truck that has a couple of pot-smoking old people in it.
It's a great joke, actually.
Something that I had zero memory of.
I probably didn't even understand it as a kid, but yeah.
I probably didn't.
They're pulling him over. I hope you hid the grass in the glove box. Just super old white couple. It's hilarious.
Yeah, very weird. It's a very odd joke for that point in a mid 1980s movie.
Yeah. The jokes hit in this movie though. Even the Fisher Stevens jokes, they're pretty funny for the most part.
Yeah, I really think that this movie should be a lot worse than it actually is. But it's not.
No.
It's super effective. So Johnny's driving around, listen to the radio. He hears Who's Johnny again.
He loves
that's
that song.
great. Everybody's happy. Yeah. And then we go back to the lab with Gutenberg and Ben, and they're trying to convince him to keep number 5 alive and not just destroy it. Because it seems valuable that this robot seems to be doing a lot of shit we didn't program it for.
Yeah.
But Scroder is now in charge of the whole thing.
Scroder!
Yeah, the whole recovery effort. He needs Hueys, and then, I don't know, I guess that sets up the third act? I think we're into the third act.
Yeah. Is this the point where Howard holds them at gunpoint? That was kind of out of nowhere.
That's pretty soon, yeah. Yeah, we head back to Stephanie's house. All the news crews show up, and her ex sees her on TV as being associated with this robot that now has a $25,000 reward on it.
He's going to get that reward.
Yeah.
Also, public service, they never give you the reward.
As a rule, you do not get the reward, or if you get any reward, it is vastly reduced from what they are saying.
Don't snitch.
Yeah. Also, public service news. Apparently, there's Luigi Mangione sex tapes out there.
Nice. Should we
just
cover
FYI.
one? Is it kind of cyberpunk? Never mind.
I don't know. Sure. Why not? So Stephanie's in the bath, and then there's a knock at her bathroom door, and she thinks it's her ex-boyfriend, but no, it's number 5 waving a bush around as camouflage.
Mm-hmm.
He then pervs on her.
Camouflage.
And says, nice software.
Yeah, because she's topless in the bath.
Understandably. And then we get the scene of...
nice software. That's a pretty good joke, actually.
It's not bad. And then we get the scene of Ben and Gutenberg stealing the van where Austin Pendleton is trying to stop him and then kind of doesn't.
Yeah.
So...
it's weird, though. Like, he whips a gun out fast.
Yeah, he pulls out a little revolver, like, immediately.
He goes from, I'm your boss, to, I will fucking kill you. And then they're like, you're not going to kill us. He's like, you're right, I was never going to kill you. Well, then why have this weird-ass fucking scene?
Yeah, unclear. So then we spend another night at Stephanie's house. Johnny's watching Saturday Night Fever on the TV. Do you know why he's watching Saturday Night Fever on the TV, Eric?
No.
The director of this movie is John Badham, who directed Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I will say something I noticed. This is the second movie in a row that has featured the Bee Gees, and the Bee Gees has been sounding really good to me. Like, each time a Bee Gees song pops up, I'm like, do I need to get some Bee Gees records? Is it an age thing? Do you hit like 45 and all of a sudden disco sounds good to you?
That's a good question. I don't know. It might be one of those things like, yeah, you hit your mid 40s and suddenly you're like, shit, man, John Prine.
Yeah, that's definitely something I've noticed too. Although that one didn't really hit me so hard.
What's the other one that I always think of that's an example of that? Oh, fucking Steely Dan.
Yeah, Steely Dan.
Mid-40s. I guess I should start listening to Steely Dan.
John Prine, Steely Dan, and the Bee Gees. I guess you're one of those three. Maybe I'm a Bee Gees person.
What I'll say for the Bee Gees is that although I understand and even to some extent enjoy the disco Bee Gees Saturday Night Fever stuff, just because those are immaculately constructed pop songs, a lot of their earlier stuff is very fucking like good, folky, good songwriting shit.
I legit think I'm gonna build a playlist and dive into some Bee Gees. I mean, obviously they've been there in the background my whole life, but I've never really given them a chance because I have a reputation in the metal community to keep. No, I don't actually.
Sure you do.
I definitely don't.
Yeah.
For the first half of my life, I did though.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to make fun of you for having a Bee Gees playlist.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. There's Johnny dances with Stephanie to the Bee Gees. There is a ton of sexual tension. And I missed earlier in the fancy dinner party thing. Gutenberg does specifically say, implied as a joke, but he does specifically say that he originally designed the robots as a marital aid.
He did. It is a joke, but there's a lot
to it.
Whenever she hugs Johnny Five, it looks like he's built to be embraced.
Yeah.
And they dance. It looks natural. It doesn't look like she's awkwardly, It's a weird tank tread robot we're talking about.
Yeah, and it's another scene where you're just sitting there going, man, the effects on this are fucking amazing. I don't know how they did this.
Yeah, how they actually did the dancing.
Yeah, because it's very incredible. It's very impressive. It's done in wides and,
Yeah.
So, then next morning, her boyfriend shows up at the house.
That piece of shit.
Yeah, that piece of shit shows up. He says, I know you know about the fucking robot. We'll split the reward, 20 for me, 5 for you.
Fucking asshole.
Very funny piece of shit boyfriend thing. um, and
he is handsy with her, man. He's grabbing her and throwing her around. He really sucks.
Yeah, he is a real piece of shit. And he finds Johnny, and Johnny's cooking breakfast, burning fucking hash browns and shit, and also spilling shit all over kittens.
yeah.
There's one point where he's like, I remember pouring milk or something, and like he just pours it on a cat.
There's a lot of splash damage.
Yeah, it's a goddamn mess. But we end up with a shootout between the boyfriend and his hunting rifle, and Johnny having disassembled his Trans Am
so fast,
14 seconds,
and like organized it perfectly.
Yeah,
like honestly, there's some maintenance you could do while it's disassembled like this that it's not going to get otherwise.
Yeah, number 5 is blocking rifle bullets with a brake rotor.
Yeah.
While, I don't know, standing next to the camshaft. And then the ex-boyfriend's gonna hits him with the drive shaft. And Johnny fucking lasers the shit out of it. And then the boyfriend's fucking hat and belt and boots. And he's completely
He totally humiliates this guy.
Yeah, he basically, it's not circumcising.
Would they remove the testicles?
Yeah. What?
Well, because
why can't I?
Your brain
think of that
has rubbed off on me.
Neuters him. I don't know.
No, that's not it. It's neuter. Is it neuter?
Neuter, yeah.
Yeah, it's neuter.
I mean, although there is another word that's more specific for people, I think. He basically castrates. Yes, I thought it began with a C. That's why I was hung up on fucking
way too long.
Jesus. So yeah, cut all that out. So Johnny basically castrates him. And he exits the movie at this point.
Yeah, good riddance.
And it's pretty fun. And we do know, yes, his laser is still intact.
Oh yeah.
So then we go to Ben and Gutenberg in the van, and they get a call on the radio that Ali Sheedy wants to meet him, Gutenberg, at this roadhouse alone. This is obviously going to be a fucking ambush because that's how movies work.
Yeah. Gutenberg's kind of naive about it, but
yeah, he's clearly an idiot.
Good robot builder. It's pretty. I thought they, other than the fact that it was Steve Gutenberg, who's a pretty charming guy, I thought they did a good job of showing how socially inept this character is.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand what Austin Pendleton was saying about that. This guy, Steve Gutenberg, is just too inherently charming and funny to make it work.
Plus he's just out of Police Academy, or that was his whole thing, and he's working opposite one of his co-stars from Police Academy, who's playing basically the same character. So it's kind of hard to separate him from Mahoney. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So they're going to meet at this. They're going to meet at this roadhouse. We have Johnny in the woods. He's dicking around playing baseball. And then gets jumped by the other robots that are still extant.
Mm-hmm. But he outsmarts him.
Yeah, he outsmarts him. He does some real Endor ass bullshit.
He does.
Fucking, it's exactly Ewoks on Endor versus ATSTs.
Wait, so we don't get called out by the Star Wars nerds who definitely won't call us out for anything we said earlier in the show. Is it Endor or is the forest moon of Endor?
Yes, the forest moon of Endor.
I never knew. Is the moon named Endor, or is the planet Endor, and this is the moon of the planet Endor?
The planet, which is a gas giant, is Endor.
Okay.
This is a moon of it. This is one of the moons of Endor.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Those nerds don't come at us.
We've cleared that up. Also, bricks do not exist. And certainly country rock does not exist.
100%.
Those Ewoks would have no fucking idea what to do with Steve Earle music. They're more down with the Yub Nub.
I was gonna say though the Sand People fucking love drive-by truckers though. It's just it is known.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's their whole fucking thing.
They have that big ass truck. Like
yeah. Oh shit! I'm sorry, Eric. That is not the Sand People. That is the Jawas who have the big ass.
Oh,
truck.
you're right. Fuck.
The Sand People have the.
They walk in single file to hide their numbers.
Yeah, the big
the banthas.
Elephants. Banthas, yes.
Yeah. You're right. The Jawas. So it's the Jawas that are down with drive-by truckers. Anyway, this bit has reached its natural conclusion.
But, the Sand People are into that whole Muscle Shoals sound. So it's Southern rock all the way with them.
100%.
Okay. So at the same time that Johnny is beating up these fucking robots in the woods using Ewok tactics, Ali Sheedy is sitting down with Gutenberg in this roadhouse and trying to convince him that number 5 is alive. Oh, it turns out this was all a trap. Skroder was in there the whole time. They want her to lead him. Yeah, they want her to lead him to the robot. Number 5 shows up, grabs her in his arms, and plows through a fucking wall.
Yeah.
And they get away. Yeah, he rescues her. They get away. They drive for a while to a very scenic area, at which point the van breaks down. And it's becoming night. Okay, we're now into the last movement of the movie.
Also, you forgot to mention that Ali Sheedy did almost touch Steve Gutenberg's hand at one point.
That's true. There is a lot of tension between these two characters that have absolutely zero reason to feel attracted to each other.
Yes, other than the fact that they are the two. Well, there's more white people, but the two white people within the context of the film.
The important thing is, within 12 hours of movie time, they will be getting married and moving in together.
They move quick.
Yeah.
That's the power of Johnny Five and the power of love, which is a different song from the 80s, not featured in this movie.
No, it is not. So her van breaks down beside these big fucking rocks. Then apparently number 5 drives back to the roadhouse on his treads, kidnaps Steve Gutenberg, and brings Steve Gutenberg back with his van.
So number 5 has this affinity for Steve Gutenberg's character, and I almost think it's like that of a parent. He always knows that if he goes to him, eventually he can convince him. I wonder if it's
Although
like
there
a
has been
familial.
Exactly zero evidence of that so far in the film,
other than how number 5 keeps saying we need to get to this guy, and you got to imagine maybe he's got memories before the lightning strike where he can recall, because Gutenberg, when he's talking to his robots in his lab, he's talking to them as if they're people.
That's true.
I think there is like a father-son dynamic here, which is going to really mess up our love triangle joke later.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Requires it to be a little weirder.
All right.
Also, we are going to find out pretty shortly that there is a bunch of shit in this movie that got cut out.
Yeah, okay.
So, number 5 brings Gutenberg back to Ali Sheedy. They spend the whole night convincing Steve Gutenberg that number 5 is in fact alive. Like he fucking sees Rorschach test.
Yeah, he eats some soup
made of ketchup. Serves him some soup. He laughs at an anti-Semitic joke.
Yeah, he does. Is it anti-Semitic? I was trying. Like it is, right?
It's it's not like.
Isn't Steve Gutenberg Jewish though?
I assume. I think so. I don't know.
I assumed so, but maybe that's
well, it's a something a priest and a rabbi joke.
Yeah,
and the rabbi's the punchline. Oh yeah. Also in this scene, there is this deeply weird matte painting.
Yeah, it's very obvious.
It looks like they are on Mars or something.
That's some of the robot money showing its ugly head there.
Yeah, it's pretty impressively odd. So the next morning, we've decided that number 5 is a people.
Gutenberg's all in on this concept now.
Yeah, it has self-actualization.
It laughs at anti-Semitic jokes just like the rest of us.
Just like the rest of us. Also, he loves Stephanie and is a pacifist. And Gutenberg's like, basically like, how could you, who taught you that it's wrong to kill somebody? Because Johnny Five said, I don't want to blow anybody up.
Mm-hmm.
And Gutenberg says, of course I know it's wrong to kill. Of course I know it's wrong to kill people, but who told you that? And Johnny says, I told me that.
Yeah.
So, that's self-actualization, man.
Yeah, this is also the point where Gutenberg tries to mess with his wires. And he's like, no, my wiring or my program,
switches.
My switches, yeah. Which is pretty, at least in this day and age, feeling a lot more relevant than maybe it even was in 1986 or whatever.
Yeah.
Bodily autonomy, big topic these days.
Yeah. So everybody's
Shouldn't
convinced that number 5 is a people. And then everybody kisses.
Yeah,
So
they do.
Now we're getting into the throuple portion
There
of
is.
the movie.
Like Ali Sheedy and Gutenberg, as soon as they make this determination, go right in for the kiss. And you're right. It's satisfying. Of course we want these two crazy kids to kiss each other, but there's really no reason for them to be doing so at this point.
Absolutely fucking no reason other than they happen to be the two conventionally attractive white people in the leads of this film.
Yeah. Whatever.
There has been nothing indicating any connection between them. And then she kisses number 5 right on the sensor.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's basically like getting kissed on your dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
then,
I feel bad saying that.
Suddenly, Nova arrives for no reason. There's no indication of how they figured out where they were. Doesn't matter.
Don't worry about it.
So Nova and the actual army arrive. Gutenberg tries to negotiate and say, no, he's actually alive. Let me bring him out. We're gonna, we'll figure out how this has happened and blah, blah, blah. And then some fucking troops sneak around at Schroeder. This is the one time you don't say
sorry.
You don't yell it.
I'm sorry, I was thinking something else.
So some troops
I was actually imagining the robot assembling a second robot in the back of the van and trying to picture what that would look like.
Yeah,
and I missed my cue.
Yeah, it would be a fun little sequence.
Yeah.
You'd have to do it in like hyperspeed or something.
Yeah.
Some troops sneak around the side of the van, kidnap fucking Gutenberg and Ali Sheedy. The van is a rockin', so don't come knocking.
Don't come knocking.
Then the robot races out of the back of the van. It's running away from the troop. They're shooting. He's about to get away. Oh no, there are fucking helicopters.
Oh, fuck, the Hueys finally, that they've been talking about for this whole fucking movie, finally show up.
Yeah, not a Huey, by the way.
Who cares? Yes. They're still called Hueys.
Yeah, they're still called Hueys. Doesn't matter. He gets blown up by a fucking helicopter missile. Everybody's happy. They're looting him for parts.
As a child, devastated.
Understandably.
Soul crushed.
It's a good fake out.
Never getting over this.
Even though it is set up earlier in the movie and emphasized earlier in the movie.
That there's a whole robot's worth of parts in there.
Yeah, this is a pretty good fucking fake out.
It's a good fake out, especially to the kids watching this.
So then Ali Sheedy and Steve Gutenberg are really sad. They drive off in the van. Apparently he's allowed to keep this van he stole.
That was
even though it's specifically mentioned that he has now been fired.
It's funny because at the end of the movie, my wife kept, why did he keep the van? He got fired. She was really upset that he got to drive off with this van when he's no longer an employee. I'm like, that's the thing that's not believable. And it apparently was.
Yeah. Ali Sheedy's like, so what are you going to do now that you're fired? And he's like, I don't know. I inherited 40 acres in Montana from my dad. I guess maybe I'll go up there and think about things. And then Johnny shows up in the back of the van because he built a replica out of the spare parts that we set up.
He also apparently built a very large hidden smuggling compartment underneath.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly like the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot of Star Wars references this episode. I don't know.
I do not know why, but yeah.
I've heard people say we should cover that.
I mean, I guess we could. It's got some stuff in it that can be perceived as kind of cyberpunk, but it's not what it's actually has any interest in.
No, but it's probably more cyberpunk than Short Circuit.
Yeah, that's probably true. Also,
everybody, it's been done enough. It's been done so many times.
Look, I can talk about Star Wars for an unreasonable amount of time, and I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm done. I've done it. I spent my whole life doing it. I don't want to do it anymore.
I'm okay.
I agree.
Okay, so yeah, number 5 is alive. He tricked everybody. It's very fun. They're gonna go to Montana. She's gonna move all her animals to the 40 acres that he inherited from his dad.
Really quick moving relationship. Johnny hasn't even been alive for 5 days.
Yeah, and he's gonna be able to get a lot of input.
So much input.
And
that would be Steve Gutenberg's penis would be the input he's talking about.
Yeah, probably thruple. So yeah, then we're great.
That makes such a sweet movie so dirty.
Yeah, they drive off, and then we get the credits where we see kind of a greatest hits of the film.
Yeah,
and also Who's Johnny comes on the radio again.
Third time's a charm, baby.
And number 5 says, I want my name to be Johnny. And there we are.
Like the guy from Johnny Mnemonic.
Yes, exactly. That's what he was looking forward to.
Yep.
This robot can see the future.
He's going to be a mnemonic courier.
The fun thing about the credits is it's just something you don't see anymore, like sort of greatest hits of the movie beneath some credits. And there is a bunch of shit that was cut out of the fucking movie.
Oh, man, I turned it off too early.
Oh, you shouldn't have. There is a whole scene in a junkyard.
Oh, wow.
That we only see some flashes of. He's in a checker cab that's going to get crushed, and then he's hanging from this like conveyor belt thing. And there's also a part where he appears to be hitting on another totally separate, in a completely different set, waitress robot.
Oh, number 5 fucks, dude. It's
number
just
5 fucks.
It's just a fact.
There's another part in it where I'm going to say evil, but not evil. The normal non-number 5 robots are controlling a model airplane to bomb him or something.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
I do kind of wish they'd get more screen time, especially when he Three Stoogified them. It was great.
Yes.
I hope they just stayed like that.
Yes, I forgot. After he ambushed them all in the woods and did the Endor shit. Yes, he programmed them all to do fucking Larry Moe and Curly bits,
and it's pretty fucking effective. Honestly, I enjoyed it.
It's honestly good. I'm not the biggest Stooges fan in the world. More of a Marx Brothers guy, but seeing some dumb robots doing Stooges bits is funny.
All right. Well, we did it. We covered Short Circuit. It had been asked for, and now it has been delivered.
We did. Yes.
What else do you want to talk about? The opening weekend? Did you get that data, or
yes,
should we go into rating?
I do have that data. Where is it? It is at the top of my thing. Okay, so this opened May 9, 1986, and it opened at number 1.
I remember it being a phenomenon.
Yeah, made $6 million that weekend. Yeah, it was very popular at the time, and at least in my mind.
Yeah, and then I'm sure in TV plays and video, it made. I get this movie made a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm certain it did. So number 2 was JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling, which is a drama movie starring Richard Pryor. It's a good movie. I haven't seen it in 25, 30 years.
Okay.
Number 3 was something called Fight Fire with Fire.
Metallica song?
Yes, it is exactly the Metallica song.
Was that your chair, or do you have a fucking horde of cats in the room with you?
I did not think you could hear that. That was something outside.
That sounded like there's a cat on your desk. Josh is Ali Sheedy.
Yes. Yeah, that was something outside. Okay, so Fight Fire with Fire. Oh, shit, I looked this up, but unfortunately it turns out there are more movies with this title. There are like 4 movies with completely random titles.
It's okay.
That opened this week.
It's not that important.
I actually, let's see. Yes, okay. So this movie at number 3 starred our old friend, Virginia Madsen.
We love her.
Yeah, we do. Also, John Polito and Craig Sheffer.
She's a Dawson's Creek alum, by the way.
That's right. Yeah, she has never been on this show.
Never forget.
Yeah. It's about a young woman from a Catholic school and a young man from a nearby prison camp who fall in love and must run away together to escape the law, the church, and their parents.
That sounds great.
Anyway, the trailer has Virginia Madsen in a Catholic schoolgirl outfit. She looks about 16.
Uh-oh.
It's
fresh
the
up
type of thing.
Princess Irulan.
Yeah.
That's 85, right?
Yeah. Number 4 was something called Blue City. What's Blue City, you might ask?
I don't know.
You won't ask. It is another Ali Sheedy movie.
Oh, wow. Busy
Yes.
girl.
Ali Sheedy and Judd Nelson. So reuniting with her Breakfast Club co-star and David Caruso in the third lead. It's, I don't know, some sort of action movie about a corrupt small town, I think. Number 4, The Money Pit.
Oh, I love
Hanks.
that movie.
Yeah, classic. Number 6, something called Dangerously Close, which I looked up. It's an Albert Pyun movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We know him.
Yeah. Number 7, Critters.
Classic.
Number 8, Gung Ho.
No.
A surprisingly racist Michael Keaton film, where the Japanese take over a car factory in America, and Michael Keaton is one of the workers. And it ends up being like, oh, we need to just get along with the Japanese people who are destroying our country because they have funny management ideas. I don't know. I haven't seen it since the 80s.
Feel good.
Yeah. Number 5, it's another person we've talked about a lot in this movie. Police Academy 3.
Oh, wow.
Number 10, a film starring somebody directly linked to a movie we've talked about a bunch, Pretty in Pink.
Oh. If you were a Gutenberg and Ali Sheedy fan, this was your week in time.
Like if you were an early to mid 80s movie fan, this was like the hottest week ever.
Yeah.
Like you had fucking Molly Ringwald, Gutenberg, Ali Sheedy, Judd Nelson, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, yeah. And who was his co-star? Was it
Oh, that's a good question. Was it Shelley Long, maybe?
It was Shelley Long, I'm pretty sure.
Was it? Yes, it was. Yeah.
I love the Money Pit.
I have not seen that movie probably since the 80s, but I remember liking it. Yeah. I've seen 9,000 gifs of it since then. But yeah.
Any more? We could wrap this one up.
No, that's it. It was a crazy week in the box office for absolute bullshit.
Okay, we're going to rate this bad mamma jamma on our 5 categories, 4 of which have a 1 to 10 rating, 1 of which has a 1 to 5 rating. First one on the 1 to 10 scale is the story of Short Circuit, aka the story of E.T.
Yes.
Pretty tried and true concept.
I mean, is this the first try at it, other than the original? Because then it got tried again and again and again.
Right, I'm trying to think of... I'm sure there were more.
Batteries Not Included. Mac and Me.
That's the one I was trying to think of. Well, I was going to say Gremlins, but no, not really. They never really come for Gizmo.
Nah, not so much.
That said, I don't know, pretty pedestrian. I'm going to give it a 6. I think it's nothing.
I think that is a very fair number. Something I found out doing my research, the 2 guys who wrote this, S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock, the other things that they did, number 1, they did Batteries Not Included, which is a complete ripoff of this movie, except it involves tiny robots that are from space.
Oh, nice.
They also seem to only have Short Circuit, Batteries Not Included, and the Tremors movies as their credits. They did all of the Tremors shit. Like all 15 Tremors movies and a TV show.
I love the original Tremors so goddamn much.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time. I recall it fondly for being very dumb, fun shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's classic. The Floor is Lava game made into a movie.
Yeah.
What more do you want when you're, 10 years old? What's your rating for story?
6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Influence.
You said 5.5, right?
I said 6.
Okay.
But-
Maybe 5-5 then.
Okay. Influence of Short Circuit. Hard to say. I don't think it was. I mean, it was very popular, but I don't know if it was painfully influential.
It did spawn a sequel, so I guess we have to give it something for that.
Yeah.
Um,
Did rocket Fisher Stevens' career.
right into Hackers?
That was quite a bit later.
Yeah. He was in a couple of movies between those. I'll say influential.
I would probably stick it at a 5.
I'm going to go 4, if only because I'm trying to. It's hard to unpick the influence of this film from. Well, look, it had a bunch of people who were already famous doing the exact same thing they were already famous doing.
Yeah.
In it.
What's weird though, it might be like, what did Gutenberg do after this in Police Academy? He didn't really ever do a lot more.
More Police Academies.
Yeah, and 3 Men and a Baby, that was huge for
3
him.
Men and a Baby was big, although, let's see, that would have been the next year, maybe?
Yeah, 87.
Yeah.
And then 3 Men and a Little Lady, of course.
Yeah. And, of course, Party Down.
Yeah, he did do Party Down. Anyway, we can't talk about Steve Gutenberg all fucking day. We got
let's go. Let's get out
to
of here.
live. Prescience. I mean, there's definitely killer robots being made right now that I would like to take home and make my pet.
Yeah, sure. I don't know about the take home and make my pet thing, but yeah, killer robots are real. 6?
I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna go 8.
All right.
You can stay at 6, but like,
yeah, I am.
They're very much doing this, only with a little bit more practical use.
I don't think they're as cute as Johnny Five, though.
I would pet that fucking Boston Robotics dog. I pet that dog.
I don't know, man. That thing hits that uncanny valley for me.
I want to cuddle up in bed next to it. I'm gonna feed it treats.
One of the big things in the user manuals for those is keep your fingers away from the joints.
Oh,
so
yeah.
just keep that in mind.
Shit, yeah, that's a good point. That would hurt. That's a pinch.
Remember that next time you are hitting one with an ice axe.
Yeah. Style. Well, you've got the Who's Johnny song.
Who's Johnny song definitely hits it on the style.
Ali Sheedy's
also,
fucking bohemian 80s hippie girl thing she's got rocking.
And honestly, I'm going to stick the just design of the robot
That's
in
fair.
style.
That's fair.
And because of that, this movie is 9.
Wow. Okay.
Like, it's way higher in style than it should be, but fuck, that robot works so good. Like,
I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just going 7 because I think really all it's got is the robot. But hey,
and
subjective.
Eldebarsh.
And Eldebarsh. It's got the robot. It's got Eldebarsh.
In her special way.
Hand raisers 1 to 5. How much did you enjoy your overall Short Circuit experience?
That's actually an interesting question.
It's kind of hard.
I think my real answer is probably going to be 3.5.
I think that's pretty fair, actually. It's got so much room for improvement, but also it does satisfy everything you want from
and
a movie.
I was so fucking worried starting it. Like, I was nearly certain, boy, this one's going to be a goddamn disaster.
Yeah.
And it fortunately is the best possible version of this movie.
You're right. All right, 3.5s. I think that's fair. It was definitely not paycheck.
Yeah, hey, I clearly remembered a bunch of this movie from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and I do not remember Paycheck
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I remember there being a Chekhov's room, and that's about it.
It's amazing how many of the lines that once they started saying them, like I could say along with it just from when I was a little kid watching it over and over. All right. Thanks for accompanying us on our Short Circuit journey. We got to announce next week's movie, and it's going to be, it's kind of one of the big ones.
In retrospect, we should have announced it last week.
We should have. And we're going to announce the following week too.
Then we could say 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. We really missed that opportunity.
So in 1 week, we're going to watch Total Recall.
Yes, finally at long last. And we're really hoping we have a guest for this one. I think we do.
The 1989 Paul Verhoeven version with Schwarzenegger.
I thought it was 90, but 89's very likely as well.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's right in there. It's not the remake with Colin Farrell.
Yeah, it's not Colin Farrell. It's definitely Schwarzenegger and Sharon Stone. And
that guy whose name I can't recall, but who's a bad guy.
And of course, see the Party Richter.
Yeah.
Talk about a movie I'm going to remember lines to. This movie I know specifically. I have seen maybe more than any other movie in my life. I watched it so much when I was a teenager.
Because there are 3 titties.
There was, but in the end, that's not why I liked. We'll get into it. We got a whole fucking episode to talk about it next week. So
yeah, we do.
And then the following week, we're going to be finishing out William Gibson's Bridge trilogy with All Tomorrow's Parties. So if you want to read along with us, you got a couple weeks to read that one.
Yeah, fire up your Velvet Underground playlists and let's go to fucking town, baby.
Let's put a cap on the Bridge trilogy. Also wanted to point out, I have not plugged our social media in a long time, so check us out on Bluesky, High Tech Low Life. We have an email, hightechlowlifepodcast@gmail.com. If you have questions, comments, concerns, feel free to email us and we might read it if we ever have time. And we have a Patreon, of course, patreon.com/hightechlowlife. And we're due for some content on there, so we'll have to get together and do that.
Yes.
I still like the idea of doing like Hard Boiled, or there's a movie we've talked about doing that we need to determine if it's cyberpunk enough to cover. So maybe doing it for that would be a way to figure it out.
Yes. I don't remember what that is.
I don't either. It's in our text chat somewhere.
Yeah, it is. We'll have to go back and find that. Yeah.
I remember the conversation, but not the topic.
We were talking about that like 3 days ago.
I know. Anyway, check out our Patreon. It's cool. There's some other stuff on there too. Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that all our social medias?
Pretty much it. Yeah.
All right. You got to sign off?
Hey, Laser Lips, your mama was a snowblower?
I love it. Goodbye, everybody. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
This has been the High Tech Low Life podcast. Find us on Twitter at Johnny60seconds, email us at hightechlowlifepodcast@gmail.com, and find us on Patreon at patreon.com/hightechlowlife. Theme music by Nihilor at nihilor.com. Thank you for listening.
Keep it moving. Come on, what are you waiting on? Let's go.
They're trashing our rights, man! They're trashing the fluid data! They're trashing! Hide the planet! Hide the planet!
Shut up and get in the car.